Imagine plugging in a simple USB drive, restarting your computer, and instantly stepping into a completely different operating system that feels fast, secure, and entirely under your control. That's the magic of bootable Linux distributions. And in 2026, this experience is smoother, faster, and more powerful than ever before. Whether you're trying to revive an old laptop, test a new environment without touching your hard drive, or carry your entire digital workspace in your pocket, Live USB Linux distros have become one of the most practical tools in modern computing. Over the years, the landscape has evolved dramatically, and now there are certain distributions that stand out not just because they work, but because they excel in portability, performance, and real-world usability. Let's start by understanding what makes a Linux distro perfect for booting from USB in the first place. It's not just about being lightweight anymore. In 2026, the best distros are designed with persistent support, fast hardware detection, optimized RAM usage, and minimal boot times. They also come preloaded with essential tools, meaning you can plug in, boot up, and start working, browsing, coding, or even gaming within minutes. This is not just a recovery tool anymore. It's a complete operating system experience on a stick! One of the most impressive distros you can boot from USB today is a system that has built its reputation around stability and simplicity. When you boot into it, the first thing you notice is how polished and familiar everything feels. The interface doesn't try to overwhelm you with experimental features. Instead, it gives you a clean, responsive desktop that works flawlessly even on older machines. What makes it ideal for USB use is how efficiently it handles resources. Even with limited RAM, it manages to run smoothly, and with persistence enabled, it can remember your files, settings, and even installed apps between sessions. This makes it perfect for users who want a reliable, portable workspace they can carry anywhere. Then, there is another distro that takes a slightly different approach. Instead of focusing purely on simplicity, it leans into customization and performance. When you boot it from a USB, you immediately feel how snappy and responsive it is. Everything loads quickly, animations are smooth, and it makes excellent use of modern hardware acceleration. What really sets it apart is how well it scales. Whether you're running it on a high-end machine or a modest laptop, it adapts beautifully. For power users, this is a dream because you can tweak almost everything from the desktop environment to system behavior, all while running from a portable drive. Of course, not everyone wants to tweak and customize. Some users just want something that works out of the box, especially when booting from USB. That's where another popular distro shines. It focuses heavily on user-friendliness, offering a guided experience that feels almost like using a mainstream operating system. When you boot into it, you're greeted with a welcoming interface, clear menus, and pre-installed applications that cover everyday needs like browsing, document editing, media playback, and more. It's the kind of distro you could hand to someone who has never used Linux before, and they would feel comfortable within minutes. Running it from a USB doesn't limit its capabilities either. It feels surprisingly complete. As we move further into 2026, security has become a major concern for many users, and some Linux distros have adapted specifically for this. There's one in particular that stands out because of how it treats privacy and anonymity as core features. Booting it from a USB doesn't just give you a portable OS. It gives you a secure environment where your activities leave no trace on the host machine. Every session is isolated, and once you shut down, it's like nothing ever happened. For journalists, researchers, or anyone concerned about digital privacy, this kind of distro is incredibly valuable. Despite its heavy focus on security, it has also improved usability significantly, making it more accessible than ever. Another interesting category is lightweight distros, designed specifically for older or low-powered hardware. These are the lifesavers for machines that would otherwise be considered obsolete. Booting one of these from a USB can transform a sluggish, unusable laptop into something surprisingly responsive. What's impressive is how much functionality they managed to pack into such a small footprint. You still get a graphical interface, basic applications, and even internet connectivity, all while using minimal system resources. In 2026, these distros have become even more efficient, with faster boot times and better driver support, making them ideal for quick tasks or emergency use. Now let's talk about a distro that has gained massive popularity for its versatility. It's the kind of system that feels equally at home on a USB drive, a full installation, or even in a virtual machine. When you boot it from a USB, it doesn't feel limited in any way. In fact, it feels like a complete desktop environment with access to a vast software ecosystem. One of its biggest strengths is community support. If you run into any issues or want to customize your setup, there are countless guides, forums, and tutorials available. This makes it an excellent choice for both beginners and experienced users who want a reliable, flexible system on the go. There's also a distro that has taken a unique approach by focusing heavily on modern design and user experience. When you boot it from a USB, it feels almost futuristic. The interface is sleek, animations are fluid, and everything is designed with attention to detail. It's clear that a lot of effort has gone into making the system not just functional, but enjoyable to use. Despite its polished appearance, it remains efficient enough to run from a USB without major performance issues. This makes it a great option for users who want something that looks and feels modern while still being portable. Gaming on Linux has also seen significant improvements, and there are now distros that cater specifically to gamers, even when running from a USB-V. These systems come pre-configured with drivers, performance tweaks, and gaming platforms, allowing you to plug in your USB, boot up, and start playing with minimal setup. While running games from a USB isn't always as fast as a full installation, the performance gap has narrowed considerably in 2026. For gamers who want a portable setup or a way to test compatibility, these distros are incredibly useful. Another aspect worth mentioning is persistence, which has become a game changer for USB-based Linux systems. In the past, live sessions were often temporary, meaning any changes you made would be lost after reboot. Now, most modern distros offer robust persistence features, allowing you to save files, install applications, and even update the system while running from a USB. This effectively turns your USB drive into a portable hard drive with a fully functional operating system. It's like carrying your personal computer in your pocket, complete with your files, settings, and preferences. Hardware compatibility has also improved significantly. In earlier years, booting Linux from a USB could sometimes result in missing drivers or limited functionality. In 2026, most major distros have excellent hardware detection, meaning they can automatically recognize and configure a wide range of devices, from graphics cards to Wi-Fi adapters. This makes the experience much smoother and more reliable, especially for users who frequently switch between different machines. One of the most exciting developments is how these distros are optimizing boot times. With advancements in compression and file systems, many Linux distributions can now boot from USB in just a few seconds. This makes them incredibly practical for quick tasks, troubleshooting, or even daily use. You don't have to wait around for the system to load. It's ready almost instantly. Portability is another major advantage that can't be overstated. Imagine being able to walk into any environment, plug in your USB drive, and have access to your own operating system without relying on the host machine. This is particularly useful in situations where you don't have administrative access or when you want to keep your data separate and secure. It's also a great way to maintain consistency across different devices, as you're always using the same setup regardless of the hardware. In terms of use cases, the possibilities are endless. Students can carry their study environment with them, complete with notes, software, and tools. Developers can have a portable coding setup that works on any machine. IT professionals can use USB-bootable distros for troubleshooting, system recovery, and diagnostics. Even casual users can benefit by having a backup system ready in case their primary OS fails. As we look at the overall landscape in 2026, it's clear that Linux USB distros have evolved far beyond their original purpose. They are no longer just tools for testing or recovery. They are operating systems that can replace traditional installations in many scenarios. The combination of speed, portability, and flexibility makes them incredibly powerful. What really stands out is the diversity of options available. Whether you prioritize performance, simplicity, security, or aesthetics, there's a distro that fits your needs. This variety is one of Linux's greatest strengths, and it's especially evident in the world of USB-bootable systems. You're not limited to a one-size-fits-all solution. You can choose something that aligns perfectly with your workflow and preferences. At the end of the day, the best Linux distro to boot from USB is the one that matches your specific needs. Some users will prefer a lightweight system that can revive old hardware, while others might want a feature-rich environment with modern design and extensive software support. The good news is that in 2026, you don't have to compromise. There are distros that excel in multiple areas, offering a balanced experience that works well in almost any scenario. So if you've never tried booting Linux from a USB, now is the perfect time to start. The process is easier than ever. The performance is better than ever. And the possibilities are endless. All it takes is a USB drive and a bit of curiosity, and you can unlock a completely new way of using your computer. Once you experience the freedom and flexibility it offers, it's hard to go back to traditional setups.